Welcome to The Movement, the podcast where we explore the heartbeat of the YMCA of Greater Kansas City. Join us as we dive into conversations with community leaders, volunteers, members, and associates who have been part of the Y's impact. Discover the inspiring stories of the past and exciting plans for the future as we celebrate how the Y continues to empower lives across our community. Get ready to be inspired in The Movement with the YMCA of Greater Kansas City. All right, today's guest is one of the most decorated goalkeepers in the National Women's Soccer League history. She's a two-time NWSL Goalkeeper of the Year, has the most wins as a goalkeeper in the league, and is third in all-time shutouts after the 2023 season. We'll check those numbers here pretty soon as we roll through 2024. She's had a record-breaking college career at Oklahoma State. Go Pokes, I'll say that.
Go Pokes.
And was named All-Big 12 4 times and All-America 2 times. She joined the KC Current in 2021. And what is even cooler than that is that she grew up as just another kid at the YMCA. Welcome, Franch. How are you? Goalkeeper for the KC Current.
Good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here. YMCA is dear to my heart. Like you said, I am a YMCA kid, so happy to be here.
Yeah. So notice I'm representing. Can you see that I'm representing today? You got that?
I got it in my background too. So all day, every day. Let's go.
I got the polo on today. I love the colors. We appreciate the partnership with KC Current. I know that you've been out at certain events for us in the past, and just appreciate the partnership with our Biddy, our youth, and our adaptive soccer program. So let's start with this. Tell us about this journey from a youth soccer player at the Y in Salina, Kansas. I got to give out the shout out to Salina, Kansas for sure. But to the person you are today, this professional soccer player that is having a fantastic career.
Thank you. Well, the YMCA was basically helping my mom's out for sure. I was a kid that needed to run around a lot. So basically put me into every single sport known to man. Whatever age you could get me into something, she put me into. And so I played all the sports. You got YMCA had t-ball, flag football, volleyball. Clearly the big ones, basketball and soccer, are the ones that I focused on. But I played it all. You asked me about it. Some of your swim lessons, racquetball even, I think at one point, So I did it all at the YMCA at such a young age, and it was just a way to figure out what I loved within the sports, and it was within my community, and it was a place that my mom felt safe for me to go to, and on a regular times when, as I continued to get older, she would just drop me off, and I'd be there for hours and close down the YMCA, and they'd be like, "You have to go home." It was a really big part of my childhood, and it was a place that I could continue to grow and love with the sport and meet a bunch of new friends and people around me.
So how did that? A great beginning, right? I mean, the Y's there for you, and then maybe take me through the journey. How you end up going through high school. How does it happen for you at Oklahoma State? Being a Sooner fan, sorry. I mean, I have to bring that back. So I know maybe so I didn't. I shouldn't have brought that up. Maybe I should have.
I didn't know all that.
I should have ended that. I should have ended with the conversation. But seriously, no. I did not go to school there, but I am from Oklahoma, so I'm proud of my state, proud of all the programs in the state. But
fair enough.
Take me through that path. How you ended up Oklahoma State, and then how do you end up as this professional soccer player?
Well, YMCA, the main thing was one of the kids that I played against and with at the YMCA at different times, her mom basically wanted to take a group of girls to start traveling soccer. And that really opened the door for me there. So that started with the YMCA. And then from there, I started playing at like the competitive level and traveling and everything. And then went to Salina South. Got to go for the Cougars there and through high school, and did well there. And I think it was like the first time in a long time, or the first time in history, we beat Salina Central. But then, I think throughout all of that opened the doors to possibly doing it in college. And that was really important. I didn't know if I was going to play soccer or basketball in college. And, my mom has always been my rock through it all and asked me, what sport can you not live without? And soccer was the easier one. Just how much I love being a goalkeeper. And I went to actually Oklahoma State for a team basketball camp, and I really enjoyed the campus and everything. So I kind of understood what Oklahoma State had to offer within the campus and the sports world through the basketball that I experienced. But then once I was able to actually go on a visit, it felt like home. The coaches made me feel like I'd be taken care of. I clearly already liked the campus and everything. And then, yeah, it was kind of an easy choice. I'm pretty sure as soon as I left, I told my mom that's where I wanted to go, and yeah, had an amazing support system throughout there. They still are awesome, supportive fans, and they're family. When we can go back, I have before, and I actually think the tournament's going to be up here in Kansas City, so I hope to see them in the tournament at the end of the year. Yeah, and then Oklahoma State, I got drafted first round after my senior year and went to Western New York. Luckily, I was in a position to be able to play as a rookie, as a goalkeeper, and what a wild ride. I had, Abby Wambach, Carly Lloyd, Sam Kerr. Those are some of the Sam Kerr as a baby, like, right? She just stepped into it, and I think there's even stories about Carly taking her under her wing a little bit, and you know, it was such a good team, and we went to the championship. I was able to say that as a rookie goalkeeper, and unfortunately, we lost to my 6-year home, Portland Thorns. It wasn't that was later down in my career, but if you're going to get scored on in a championship game, it might as well be Christine Sinclair and Tobin Heath, as a rookie. So that was a fun year. Unfortunately, I ended up tearing my ACL the next year, so put a pause on 2014. 2015, I ended up going over to Norway and playing for a year, and I was able to go with Casey Kruger, who is was currently on the national team and is playing for Washington right now. And just different life experiences through all of this.
Yeah. From Salina, Kansas to the world.
From Salina, right? Kansas.
To the world. The opportunities are fabulous. You discovered that passion early, right? And so how do you end up in Kansas City?
How do I end up in Kansas City? 2013, there was a Kansas City team. And I have sprinkled it here and there to Vladko. He was here back in 2013 on that original time that I was drafted, but he didn't pick me. But no, so there's a little back and forth there a little bit. But so I ended up going to Portland after Norway. And so I was in Portland for about 5.5 years. And then so the FCKC was here, couple championships under their belt, but then went to Utah. They were bought out, and then they were bought back. And then that opportunity came at the end of 2021. They were interested, and
just felt like coming home.
Honestly, like, how many people can honestly say that they have been able to go home and represent where they're from, play where they grew up playing? And honestly, that is why I'm so invested in this community. In general, I'm invested in the community, but to be able to come back home and, let all the kids know around, like, you can do it too. Like you said, like from Salina, Kansas, back in 2005 to 2009, I'm going to show my age right now. Like, that's my high school. And even before that, like the soccer fields that we had in Salina were almost non-existent to being torn up baseball fields, and they ended up adding fields now, and teams and players can come through that. I had to go to everywhere outside of Kansas. I played in Manhattan. I played for a Wichita team. I played for a Topeka team. I played for a Kansas City team. And now just seeing how much the game has grown in the surrounding area, why not want to be a part of that?
Yeah. So I think about that those early days and playing sports as a child. Tell me how that shaped you as a person, both on and off the field, or how you think it shaped you. I mean, those early days as who you are today.
I don't think everyone's going to be a professional athlete. I don't think everyone's going to go to college and play sports. I don't think everyone's going to go to high school and play, but I think kids being able to be in sports at such an early age can teach so many valuable lessons. Where you have the the cooperation, the teamwork, the dedication, like the focus on skill sets, just development, process, journey, fails, like the failures, the successes. You learn so much within your failures, right? And sports give it to you. Sports keep you humble on a regular basis. Because of the practice that you do every single day, you practice something, you get better at it, and then you add a little bit more discomfort, make it a little harder to challenge yourself, and so then you do fail more often, and it's constantly doing that. And um, it puts kids in a space to be leaders. It puts kids in spaces to learn to follow when need be. It Communication. I mean, there's so like I know so many more things can be named, but I think that's what is the beauty of sports and how it can bring people together. So um, honestly, if it was up to me, I would hope every kid could be play a sport of some sort. Um, and I love that the YMCA tries to provide that for them.
Thank you. Thank you. I look at, I mean, obviously the values, the skills, all those things that happen. And what would you say to a kid that maybe isn't the most necessary, I mean, just maybe not the most talented player on their team, but loves soccer? And, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. Not everybody's going to go pro. Not everybody's going to make high. Not everybody's, but what about those kids that just love it? I mean, you talked about several of those outcomes and what it builds character. Would you say anything else to that child or the kid that maybe isn't the number one, isn't on the first team, on the second team, the backups? What's the importance of the overall teamwork component of sports, soccer? You pick any sport that you've had, because you've had lots of experience in different sports as a player.
I think if you love something, continue to pursue it, whether that ends up being a hobby or not. I mean, my wife, she still goes plays pickup basketball because she loves the sport, and go to the park, kick a ball around, throw a ball around, um, and honestly, when you look at that, like that's just movement.
Be
Kids need
active.
movement
Be active,
anyways,
right?
and
Be active.
be active,
Yeah.
yeah, and enjoy that. That is something like this world is our playground, and I think adults start to forget that. So like I if you have the time and the opportunity, continue to pursue it. Like I said, even if it's a hobby, you can do all sorts of things outside of sports still and be successful in all of these things, but keep an element of that, because it brings you joy.
Yeah. And I'll shift a little bit away from the player to the parent. And what's an important thing, or what advice would you give to parents whose kids show an interest in soccer or sports?
Parenting's hard, um, and investing in your kids is something that a lot of parents want to do, and um, it's the way in which that you invest that helps them succeed or not sometimes, depending. I think being supportive in a way in which that your kid needs is probably the biggest thing, because there are some kids that might like their parent being a little bit more um, honest with them, and I think there's that parents who really want to coach, and that's amazing, um, and also make sure you just don't get in the way. when you coach. You know, like I said, it's really what the kid needs, and you actually have to take a step back and realize who the kid is and how they work and how they're motivated. And I think teaching motivation can be hard, and I think there's that balance where parents try to teach their kids motivation by pushing them so hard. I think some of that motivation has to come within, and it comes from one, loving the sport, loving what you do, and really wanting to be good at it, and also persistence. So as long as the parent is constantly allowing them to be in this space to continue to develop and practice and do the persistent things to train, I think the kids are incredible. They can do amazing things if you just let them do it. And I think sometimes parents get in the way. I know I have before. I'm like, Murray, you need to do this. And she was already doing what I was about to tell her to do. Just step out of the way. But enjoy the moments. You got to enjoy the moments as like be your kid's biggest fan, because that 5-year-old is not always going to be a 5-year-old. What you're seeing right now in this moment, see all the great things that they do, because the mistakes are going to continue to happen. They're going to have bad games, good games, whatever, but just enjoy those moments because they're not forever.
I agree with that. Shift gears a little bit with you here and talk a little bit about you and the current and just maybe just some of your preparation. How do you prepare mentally before a big game? Any game? How do you what's your preparation mode? What as a professional athlete, how do you get yourself ready for the game?
Key word was preparation, right? I think, at a professional level, you've been preparing since you were, how old can you play soccer at the YMCA right now? 3-year-old, three, every single practice, you're learning something, you're gaining knowledge. So it's either good habits or bad habits. And so when the game comes, you're just taking everything that you've done and just doing it. You're I like to tell our team, like, there's been a couple times where I'm like, let's give them a show. Let's give them a show and let's just enjoy who you are, because you each have individual talents, and like let those talents like shine, because you've been training this your entire life. Now, entire life for like our 16, 17, and 18-year olds means a little bit different now for us these days, but um, you know, uh, that's the preparation. That's how you get ready mentally for a game, is do the things at the best of your ability every single day at training, and work hard and focus within that space, and keep that same thing within the game, and just allow yourself to be who you are as a player in those games.
Yeah. And game after game, day after day, practice after practice. I mean, you just got to keep going. You have any pregame rituals or superstitions that you follow? I mean, do you put one shoe on before the other, or is there none?
Pretty close. I'm very consistent. There are times where I have little moments that things are. You have to be adaptable within your routines. I will say that. A sock rips or something goes wrong. Like, whatever your ritual, routine, whatever it is, if you have one, understand that you are okay if it doesn't happen. You have to be prepared for that. But yeah, I am very much, pregame meal, all of that timing is very consistent. I'm all about routine, and whatever that routine is that I develop, usually at the beginning of the year, that's my routine. So it has changed a little bit over the years, very consistent, but definitely tape the things that need to be taped, then socks, then shin guards, finger tape, then shoes.
Got any music going
but
on?
I have a whole activation thing. But if you talk about specifically gear,
yeah,
and then eventually when I get on the fields, I got to put the gloves on. So
yeah, lovely. So, what's the most challenging moment in your career, and how'd you overcome it? Let's talk about adversity.
Most challenging.
Challenging. Doesn't have to be the most, but something comes to mind.
When roles change, it's hard. When you're used to being in a certain position, whether that's the number one keeper, and then you have to become the two, or you're a number one for your high school, and then you go to college and you're not the number one, or you get injured and
Right.
you have to cheer from the sidelines. Injury is tough. I've had an ACL injury, so
Right.
you know, those changing roles, because we're all competitors, we're all athletes, especially as professionals, just wanting to compete day in and day out and be on that field and be in the big moments and live for those moments. When those roles change of what you think it should be or what you picture it to be, those are probably the toughest. And understand that you have to take a different path, and you have to process that a different way. Your journey is now different steps. Like I said, I mean, your preparation is everything that you do day in and day out. Now your preparation looks a little bit different if you're injured, right? You have to do the rehab, recovery, and all of that stuff that's not as fun as going and kicking a ball around with your friends.
Sure.
But know that it will come back around.
Yeah.
Because you're putting in the work, and you love it and you believe in it.
Yeah. Thank you. It can't be understated that the current play at the first women's professional sports stadium in the world, I mean, such a dynamic moment, not only for the sport, for women, for Kansas City. What's that mean to you to be able to play in that stadium? And maybe how it contributes to the success as you as a player and the team.
Um,
I love the smile. I see it.
yeah. Well, even more so because it's close to home, right?
Sure.
I know it's on the Missouri side, but
It's a metro. We have a metro.
it's a metro. Come on, it's the
Kansas City.
Midwest, where like before it was like people play soccer in the Midwest. Yes, we do. Like, of course we do. And the fact that it's all over the world right now, and what they've done for the community with this, shows day in and day out by just walking down the street and seeing people be so excited about this team. And, I think not only do we have an amazing stadium, but we have amazing players, staff, and our team to go together is really beautiful. Because we have some really good people, not just good players, good people representing this for the entire world.
Right.
So, like,
that's got a little weight, doesn't it?
like I think, I think across the NWSL in general, you see players who really like have cared about this league to allow this league to grow to what it is. And like, I hope that every person that has come before us recognizes that they helped build this. Because if it wasn't for all the players before even the NWSL, the players who worked for those other leagues for this to happen, and Alex Morgan just retiring and talking about the different things that her and Megan Rapinoe were a part of, and all of those players that came before us helped build this. And I know I was a rookie when this first started, so I'm like, am I showing my age? Am I part of that? But like, it's a representation of what has always been here, and women have always been here playing this sport and being entertainment, and it's just finally invested in. Even though us players, we knew that we had value, it's showing now, like, here's our value. It's showing the world our value, even though we knew within ourselves. So it's cool.
How do you balance the demands of being an athlete with your personal life? How does that? I mean, I think about professional athletes and the demand not only for preparation and practice and travel and all these things, but how do you find balance in the personal side of your life?
I think that depends on who you are. I think there are some professionals that it the game, the sport is it for them, and that's perfectly fine, you know. And then there's people who, I mean, I have a family, so for me, I do have to step away and take care of my wife and my little one, um, and be there for them. Whether it's I'm frustrated about a game or a practice or whatever, I do have to show up when I come home in a different space. And so being able to separate them, I think it is important for me personally. Um, but at the same time, they have to understand what I do on a regular. So the people that you surround yourself with is really important for what you want to accomplish, because you want people who are going to help you or want you to continue to succeed and at least not get in the way of the things that you need to do as a pro. And like you said, all the different preparation, the recovery, the studying, the extra time that you decide to work on something specific, like those moments you have to build within. And if you have a family, you communicate that with them. If you don't, then that's your main focus. But whatever your routine is your routine giving to your career or taking away from it? And I think that's something that's important that you have to recognize as an individual. And if it is taking away from it, is it still giving to you as an individual?
Yeah. So again, here we are today. It's 2024. The league's been around for X number of years. We just talked about the legacy of women's sports and what that means to have the stadium dedicated to women's professional sports. Where do you see what changes do you see coming in women's professional soccer in the next 5 to 10 years? What look down the road a little bit for me, and can you envision something that may be different or better or the same, or where are things going?
I think the more investment, more teams, hopefully more stadiums.
Sure.
We're having younger players come into this league, and I think their experience and their growth and development. I mean, think of an 18-year-old in a professional environment. For us, 5 years down the road, look at what is Claire Hutton going to be in 5 years? What is she going to be in 10 years? And I didn't come into this league until I was like 22 or so, like when you come out of college. And throughout all of those, from middle school to high school to college to pros, it's always a step up. So, I mean, skipping even some high school and college, going into that environment, you're just going to continue to create and develop these younger players, and you're growing the sport as that happens, right?
Yeah.
Because you're putting these kids in this environment that is the next level, and they're just going to develop earlier. And I think you're just going to like the league is growing, the sport itself is growing across the world. You're starting to see sold out stadiums all over the place, and that just brings more investment, and more investment brings amazing players.
Yeah.
And shines a light on all the players that are here.
I kind of mentioned Kansas City a little bit earlier in the stadium, but it's a great time in Kansas City to be a sports fan of all sorts, right? What makes the city of Kansas City special?
What is Kansas City without its people?
Yeah.
That's what makes it special. It's the people who are coming day in and day out, who is sitting in the rain, sitting in the heat. We've always known it's there. I mean, you've seen it with the Sporting. You saw it with the Wizards before.
Right.
It's always been a soccer city, and throughout the different World Cups, when they all come together and they watch. I think it was Sporting and us had both had sold out crowds or something like that on the exact same day, same time of a game. So that shows the investment of people. And with the soccer stadium also, I know I've heard different stories from different people of how the community is showing up and how they're excited about the Current in general, and people who have never even watched the sport are excited about it. So I think what Kansas City Current is representing is Kansas City, is the community, and it's reaching people that you wouldn't even think, and that's exciting. And clearly we got the KC Chiefs and everything that they're doing. We have the Royals. I mean, like, we have teams that, like, I mean, Kansas City is a sports city, but mainly a soccer city. Come on.
I'll take that. I'll take that. So, what are you looking forward to the rest of the season? What's gonna talk to me through the rest of the season with the Current? What are you forecasting? What are you thinking? How you feeling?
I'm excited to continue to see this team grow. I think that's something that is important. I know we've had a couple losses here, and we just had a good win, a 1-0 win, which is big time. But you've just seen, if you're paying attention to what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to do, it's just that we're not just about scoring goals, just the way in which that we're doing it. We're trying to buy into the way in which that is our identity. I know we're aggressive. I know we're transitional, but we're finding opportunities. What is the game giving us, and can we read it? Can we learn from it and grow? How are the things that we did last week going to apply here, and what are some of the things we did last week that we don't want to, and how do we continue to grow? Because if we continue to grow from where we are right now, the forecast that you're asking about is going to be very nice.
What hobbies interest you have in your downtime? What do you do?
Hobbies, hanging out with my kiddo.
Yeah.
She's 2.5, gonna be.
That's life. That's not a hobby. That's life, right?
That's that. But like, if I don't see it as a hobby, then I'm like, I see it as life, man. I'm just getting through life. But I am blessed. I am very blessed. I have an amazing kiddo, an amazing partner, and I get to go home and just like listen to the things. I mean, you work with kids. Yeah. The things that come out of kids' mouths, you're like, you can't make it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, okay, honey, that's the kind of day you had. I am here to listen because it's my own television show. I get to have at home.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. What kind of impact do you hope to leave on the next generation of soccer players?
Biggest thing is enjoy it, the passion, enjoy playing, and know that you can't go anywhere without your support system. Whatever that support system is, it's different for everyone, but surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed, and then be that same person and want other people to succeed and give back to your communities. I think those are some of the biggest things for me.
Yeah. Okay. I have what I call my final four. So I got 4 questions for you. All right. They can be short answers. They can be long answers. So who was your favorite athlete growing up?
I enjoyed Brianna Scurry. If you've heard any of my stories, I am definitely a Brianna Scurry fan. I have been lucky to meet her as well. So not only have I had a hero to look up to, but I got to meet her, and also heard encouraging words from her, and being a fan of mine. So that is something really special. So there's that.
I see the smile. That's great. If you weren't a professional soccer player, what do you think you'd be doing?
Ooh, I used to say an artist, but as my career has developed, I've enjoyed different things, and I've really enjoyed gardening recently within like the last 4 or 5 years or so. And so I probably would have changed my major and maybe been a horticulturist.
All right, that's cool. That's a good one. I like that. Do you have a superpower?
Do I have a superpower?
You got a superpower?
Oh,
Besides stopping balls from going into goals.
yeah. My superpower is holding high expectations.
I like that. Bring them up. Everybody needs to be at that level, right?
Yeah.
So,
I've heard like some things like what would people say about you, or what have people said about you? And some videos I've seen is AD holds high standards and high expectations for those around her. So that must be my superpower, because that's what they say.
That's awesome. Who or what inspires you the most?
Family. I mean, like I've said here in the past of this podcast, my mom, she's been my rock. She's been there for me from the start, and has supported me in every way that she knows how and to the best of her abilities. And I don't think she did too bad of a job since I got where I wanted to be, you know. And then my wife and kiddo, brother and sister, those are my main support system. And you know, then my family that are my friends, because like I said, without your support system, you wouldn't be able to be successful. Now, I don't believe that for one second, that one person in this world was successful all on their own.
Great way to end that. And that, my friends, is AD Franch, goalkeeper for the KC Current. Thank you so much for being on the movement today. And thanks for being an inspiration to kids, to girls, to adults, to Kansas City. And I like to think a little bit of that is probably built around that YMCA in Salina, Kansas a few years ago. Not many years ago, a few years
just
ago.
Just a few. Yeah, I like how you put that.
Yeah, so stay motivated out there, everybody. Stay connected. Keep moving forward with us on the movement. Together, we're building a stronger community, one story at a time. Thanks for spending time with us on the movement. Visit kansascitymymca.org for more information. And be sure to follow the YMCA of Greater Kansas City on social media for the latest updates.